Never pay collections or charge-offs. Don't make this mistake. It always makes me cringe when I hear people's stories with collection companies. So today, I'll be including all the instructions and documents you need to handle yourself when dealing with debt collectors. The collection companies have become experts at trapping you into debt that you don't necessarily need to pay. Yes, you heard me. You don't need to pay if you know what you're doing. I'm going to teach you their dirty tricks and how to avoid getting caught in their traps. Honestly, when I see this happen to people, it frustrates me to death because they usually don't ask me about it until it's already too late. I mean, to give you an idea, just last week I had a friend ask me about a collection agency that called her on the phone, and she made the same mistakes I hear over and over again. And you know, I made the same mistake back in the day before I knew better. So I'll be breaking this all down for you so you'll know exactly what you'll need to do if you find yourself being called by a collections company. And I'm going to explain this to you using some of my own personal stories to make it a little easier to understand and a little more interesting. Now, while I do have some experience with this, I'm not a lawyer, so understand that this video is really just my own opinion on how I like to handle creditors, and don't take it as legal advice. But I am actually thinking to do a free credit repair for some of my channel subscribers. If that's something that you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments section below. And of course, turn that like button blue because I spend a lot of time creating these free videos. So when I was a teenager in college, I got my first credit card. It's crazy to me to now think a credit card company would give me a credit card considering I had no job and I barely had a permanent address. And not surprisingly, I was like every other reckless college student where I missed a lot of payments and it hurt my credit score early on in life. I had a credit score in the low 600s for a long time as a result of that. And back then, it's not something I really even thought much about since I was in school and was nowhere close to making enough money to even buy a house. But the late payments did affect my credit score for a long while, even after graduation. And while I may have had that bad start, I've since been able to improve my credit score to over 800, which is something I'm pretty proud of. Now, it wasn't that all those late payments fell off of my credit account either. I took the initiative to have some of them removed myself, and that's largely what I try and help you guys do. So if you've missed payments on your credit cards or other accounts, I'll explain how this end of debt cycle kind of works, so you know your rights and you can avoid paying anything you don't have to. So you have the three credit bureaus, right? Equifax, Experian, and Transunion. Well, these guys really are looking at what's called your trade lines or lines of credit. There are really two types of trade lines that you'll likely get, and that's revolving credit, like credit cards. This is where you have a long-term line of credit issued to you, and you can use that line of credit over and over again just as long as your balance doesn't exceed the dollar limit they set for you. With this, you'll be required to make scheduled payments on whatever balance you carry. The other trade line you're likely to get is an installment loan, and the installment loans are usually given for, say, a car or a house. Now, the lender usually holds the title or deed of the property until the loan is paid off, and like the other type of trade line, you need to make regular scheduled payments on these. Now, you need to understand that your on-time payment history is one of the most influential factors on your credit report, literally making up 35% of your total score. So if you get even a few late payments fixed on your report, it can have a pretty significant impact. That's why I tell people that fixing your own credit score is easier than they may think. And to get you started, I put the links in the description of this video to where you can both get your credit reports and also where you can submit disputes to items on your credit report. Finding where to dispute items on your credit report can be a bit tricky, with some of the bureaus that even make you create a whole separate account and a segregated dispute section that's a bit hard to find. Well, I found them for you to help you get started so you don't have to live with bad credit for the next 7 years. Once you understand how to dispute items, there's a chance you can get them off of your report in just a few weeks. Okay, so I'm going to teach you to avoid paying charge-offs and collections through a personal story of mine. So I used to have a cell phone plan with Verizon, and back in the day, they forced everyone into a long-term contract. Well, I was moving out of the country and I had to cancel the phone plan. And honestly, I paid off my past bill and I paid off my phone, so I owned the phone I was using, so I thought I was good. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did pay off the plan completely. Well, several months went by after canceling the plan, and I received a phone call from a collections company about an unpaid amount of around $275 from Verizon. Now, mind you, this wasn't Verizon calling me, it was a collection company. You see, since Verizon couldn't collect on this unpaid debt, supposedly, they sold the debt to a collections company, and this is what's called a charge off. So if you have a contract with some big company and owe them money for something, they will first try and collect from you personally. Whether that's through sending you invoices or calling you, Verizon and other big companies will make some attempt to let you know you still owe them money. Well, if it's been months and you haven't made any payments, and they decide, okay, well, Brian isn't going to pay, and it's not worth our time chasing him down for a couple $100s, they will charge off that debt and usually sell it to a collections company. And to give you an idea, collection companies will usually pay pennies on the dollar to take ownership of your debt. So after this whole process of a charge-off and selling of your debt to a collections company, supposedly now you owe the collection company the money, right? Well, not so fast. While the collection company now owns your debt, they have the burden of proof that the debt is accurate and that you are the person who owes them the money. And honestly, there's some good reasons why you shouldn't just pay creditors who contact you over the phone. For one, debt collection notices are easy to fake, so there's a very good chance it may be a scam. When dealing with a collections company, you really have no idea if they actually bought your debt or not, or who you're even sending money to. Personally, there's no way I'll ever be breaking out my credit card over the phone for someone I don't know who's associated with a company I've never heard of. Another reason is they may be trying to collect on debt you already paid. This is exactly what I think happened to me with my cell phone bill. Another big reason not to pay is the collections company may not even be qualified to represent the creditor. And another reason not to pay is sometimes these collection companies resurrect old debts to try and make some extra money, but they don't have the original documents, or sometimes it's already past the statute of limitations for them to collect. So the first thing you need to remember is never verify who you are to someone over the phone until you know who's calling you. If you're getting a call from an unknown number by someone asking for a name, always ask who's calling before you verify anything. Now remember, even if you verify your name, it doesn't mean that you verified your specific identity, and it doesn't mean that you're the one who owes the debt. Lots of people have the same name, so that's not so much the problem. But what I do see happening is when people get these phone calls, they're giving out much more of their personal information to these credit collection companies. Really, information they shouldn't be giving to anyone they don't know that's calling. Okay, so two of the big things that you should avoid verifying is your social security number. I'll repeat that. Do not verify the last 4 digits of your social security number to anybody over the phone. And do not verify your physical address or email address. No random person over the phone is entitled to this. Now, I know what I'm saying sounds like common sense, but when people get phone calls from individuals that sound professional, they often give up this personal information without even thinking about it. So you need to train yourself to just hang up the phone as soon as someone calls asking for this information. If someone says you owe them money, tell them, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't discuss this over the phone, and you can send me the supporting documents by mail to the address you have on file. If they ask for the address where they can send it, tell them again that you don't give your address over the phone, and they will need to send it to the address they have on file. If you really do owe them money, trust me, they will already have your address. Also, never admit to the debt. I'll say that again. Never admit that it's your debt over the phone, and do not give them a payment. You can probably see that you're just better off not talking to them until you're prepared on how you're going to respond to them. Now, you don't want them calling you over and over again, so remember to ask them to take you off of their calling list and not to contact you anymore by phone. When you're in a good headspace, write down the caller's name, the company they are calling from, the time and date they called, and tell them to take you off of their caller list. So again, you give them none of your personal information. You get information from them and tell them to take you off of their caller list. Now, if they do send you the debt information by certified mail, then you have 30 days to dispute this. I'll be putting a link to a dispute letter below. You can use it as a template for yourself, and just remember to send it by certified mail. Remember, you need to send it by certified mail for it to count, okay? But honestly, unless the debt is for a huge amount, there's a good chance that these collectors won't bother sending you a letter. You have to remember that these collectors buy debt in bulk. They are looking for easy wins for large debts. If you owe $200 and you require them to send you a letter, guess what? You're likely not getting a letter. Also remember, these creditors likely don't have the complete documentation to prove you owe the debt. And there's a statute of limitations on debt in every state. It usually ranges between 3 to 6 years. So you may not even be legally obligated to pay the debt if it's already been a while. Debt past the statute of limitations is no longer yours to pay. They can't sue you for it, even if they wanted to. So giving them anything at that point is just free money in their pocket. Now, I've included the letters to help you out down in the description. The other big issue is dealing with getting creditors off of your credit report. I'm kind of a do-it-yourself guy, but if you really want help from a credit repair company to get collections off of your report, I'd recommend shopping around a bit. Look at the company's reviews on the Better Business Bureau and Google Business Reviews. I've just noticed there seems to be a lot of shady credit repair companies out there, and I honestly don't know exactly why. I've thought maybe that's the only way to make real profit in this business. I mean, the biggest problem is that you can't guarantee that your credit will be repaired because they don't own the credit bureaus. So I can see why there'd be a lot of unsatisfied customers. Me personally, I currently don't offer credit repair for this reason, but I may end up making some self-help guides for those who want a very detailed step-by-step system. I'm also thinking to offer some free credit repair to some of my subscribers. If that's something you might be interested in, let me know in the comments. I'll be building a sign-up page for this sometime soon. Just remember, I'm here for you and always happy to answer your questions, and you have a great day.